Chair, members of the convention, good afternoon. Just like to thank you all for the invitation to speak to you this afternoon at this constitutional convention, and I'd like to also commend you all for the work that you have undertaken so far. You're doing a great job, so keep it up, and it's great to see this exercise in deliberative democracy taking place. I have to declare a personal interest to start my presentation today. I am an academic, but for me this is not an academic issue. I am an Irish citizen. I was born in Derry and I live and work in Belfast. So the conversation you are having this weekend is not an academic conversation for Irish citizens like me. I'm also an Irish citizen who has consistently worked throughout my career in university and beyond for the civil, political, economic, social and cultural rights of everyone on the island of Ireland. Not just Irish citizens, but everyone on this island as well. But I'm very, very conscious that you have a lot on your agenda and you have a very precise question to address this weekend. And I think it is important to underline, and I understand this greatly myself, that the focus of the conversation and the constitutional conversation we have does remain, I think, focused on the question posed around the right to vote for the presidency. And I know there are many, many other issues raised by the conversation today and tomorrow. Now, when I spoke to Art, and when Art asked me to do this, I was given a sort of one side of A4 instruction. So I've given you a very, very compressed, in the smallest font size I could find, a version of some of the key arguments. But I suppose the overarching theme of my presentation is just how straightforward some of this is in a Northern Ireland context. I think this would be a modest, appropriate, and important constitutional step, fully in keeping with the constitutional legal changes that have been happening in Irish constitutional law and also the constitutional law of Northern Ireland. I've set out in the paper the constitutional provisions that have been referred to of the Irish Constitution, that interaction between Article 12 of the Constitution, Article 12.2, which I think is the focus that we want to have on the issue of amendment, its linkage to Article 16 and all elections, and of course don't forget the issue of Irish citizenship and the overarching provision of Article 9 of the Irish Constitution. So I've tried to set some of that out as simply as I can in terms of Irish constitutional law, but I'm very, very conscious that my presentation today is focused on the Northern Ireland context. And on that, I think I want to just underline that given the constitutional transformation that has taken place on this island since 1998, a constitutional transformation, let us not forget this weekend, that was democratically endorsed by the people on this island. I think the Good Friday Agreement, Belfast Agreement, 1998 framework is essential to understanding what we're discussing over the next 2 days. In particular, the changes resulting from that agreement in the Irish Constitution, Articles 2 and Article 3. Article 2 set out in the paper, underlining the entitlement and birthright of everyone born in the island to be part of the Irish nation. The agreement stress on the recognition of the right of everyone in Northern Ireland to be British or Irish or both as they may so choose, and to be accepted as such. The fundamental principles of that agreement which flow from that recognition of choice around parity of esteem, mutual respect for the identity and ethos of the two main communities in Northern Ireland and their aspirations, including their political aspirations. In other words, the question that you're considering today and tomorrow has a reasonably straightforward answer, I think, in terms of the constitutional, legal, and political principles that emerge and flow from the Belfast Good Friday Agreement 1998. It's also worth underlining, of course, the role of the Irish presidency, and I think it's important to speak today also to the huge symbolic and practical significance of the role of the presidency for the Irish nation and what it means to Irish citizens to be part of the Irish nation, and to focus our minds this weekend specifically on that office of the President itself. It's already been pointed out, Northerners have a considerable interest in the Irish presidency, great admiration and respect for the office, and with apologies to our Deputy First Minister, some Northerners have even run successfully for office there. So it's an office that has huge symbolic and practical significance for all those who want to be part, and we've seen it today, who desperately want to be part of the Irish nation. And really my really small role today is just to underline that it is a modest change that would be consistent with constitutional law in Ireland, a change nonetheless, but one that would be consistent with the spirit of the Irish Constitution, consistent with the new constitutionalism that's emerged in law and politics since 1998, consistent with Northern Ireland constitutional law and the principles that have emerged there, consistent with North-South relations, with the new and emergent roles and configurations constitutionally that are emerging around our islands, and also consistent with Ireland's remarkable, as we've seen today, global role. So really all I can underline for you this afternoon is that I think it's a timely, modest, and appropriate constitutional step, and one that I think you can legally and politically and comfortably take. Thank you very much.